Okay, so let's talk very quickly about drawing from the holster, because we're going to be doing a lot of that over the next 2 days, right?
If you're a fan of Active Cell Protection Extra, you will love the ASP Unlimited app. It is chock full of everything that you love about ASP Extra and more, including full-length, uncut, unedited classes from some of the best instructors in America, and it is also the exclusive home of the Video Active Self-Protection podcast. Hit the link in the description or download it from your favorite app store today and check it out on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, or Android TV today.
So one of the things that, and this is just kind of an admin note for us, if we're working from the holster with a blue gun, live guns should not be on the person. It's too easy to get them confused. I have been in a professional level firearms class where a nationally known instructor drew a live gun towards the students because they got them mixed up. So to eliminate the possibility of that happening, what I am going to do is I'm going to take my live gun and just ground it here, facing that way, and I'm going to show you blue gun. Blue gun, blue gun, blue gun. So I am just as human and fallible as anybody else. If I'm going to do any kind of demonstration or any kind of showing, I will display a blue gun or point to a blue gun. I want you guys to look too and confirm that yes, in fact, this is a blue gun. If it's not a blue gun, say no, stop. Let me know so that I can switch it out. The lighting in here is kind of funny. I'm looking at this and this looks black from this side. So there's gonna be moments I'm like, blue gun, okay. I want you guys to be like, yes, blue gun. All right, and that's the only way that we'll proceed. So that way we've got to double check to make sure I'm never pointing a non-blue gun in your guys' direction. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so that being said, let's try it. Blue gun? Blue gun. All right, let's talk about drawing from the holster, okay? So who here is carrying, there's quite a few people carrying strong side, but a lot of other people are carrying appendix, right? So we'll go over appendix first, and then we'll move to a strong side hip, all right? So one of the most important things and one of the most dangerous things that you're going to be doing throughout the next 2 days is drawing from the holster and particularly holstering the gun, okay? So first and foremost, we need to get the cover garment out of the way. The best way to do this, non-dominant hand, fingers pointing north and south, right? If I do that, I like to go for my belly button because my belly button doesn't move, okay? If I go for my belly button and collect my shirt here, then I've already pulling up a lot of that fabric and I can start pulling up and I can completely open up access to my firearm, okay? From there, I'm going to drive my non-dominant hand, or my dominant hand, I'm going to drive the web of my dominant hand as high as I can onto the gun, right in the holster. All right, I'm going to drive that up there, and you kind of see, I like, and this is a personal thing, I like kind of high thumbs, flag thumbs. That kind of makes sure that I get nice and high. Okay, I like these thumbs, but if you happen to have it back behind, that's totally fine. And for some people, they can't get their thumb back there. You know, either the holster is too deep and they have to start with their thumb on the back of the gun. That's fine too. Find what works for you. Ideally, you guys all are in holsters where you can get all 3 fingers around the gun in the holster, okay? I'm going to put these 3 fingers around. Notice where my trigger finger is in relation to the gun right now, even in the holster. It's high. That way, as the gun comes out of the holster, where is my trigger finger going to automatically be when the gun comes out of the holster? Nice and high. This is one of the reasons why I don't particularly like Serpa holsters, because you're pushing on a button that has your trigger finger right over top of that trigger as your finger is coming, or as the gun's coming out of the holster. No bueno, okay? So, pull that cover garment up, drive down on there, 3 fingers around, and for appendix, all I have to do is come straight up and out of the holster. Once I'm up here, I can rotate the gun, and this is where my hands are going to come together. I'm going to collect that gun with both hands and press it straight out towards the target, okay? Some things to think about here. This hand should never go higher than this hand, I'm going to clear my cover garment to where my hands need to come together, okay, to press out. But what ends up a lot of times happening is if my hand is way up here, I draw my gun to here. Now what does this hand need to go do to get a grip? It needs to go back down. So what I end up doing is this number, and if I have a red dot or something, I end up hooking it over the top of my gun, and then I'm fighting with my cover garment as I'm trying to press the gun out. Whereas, if I only clear the cover garment as far as I need to, I get a grip on the gun, and the gun comes out and goes past this hand. Now all I have to do is let this go, rotate the hand together, press out, and now I'm on target. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when it comes to holstering, this is really the most dangerous part. I want to clear my cover garment. I'm going to keep my firearm pointed at the place that it last was, because presumably that's the safest place for it to be, right? We just got done shooting. Might as well keep pointing it that way, right? So I'm going to clear my cover garment. Whatever foot your firearm is more biased over, I'm going to drop that foot back and bias my hips a little further forward. If I were to have the firearm to go off right here, where would the bullet go? Into the ground. Is it going to go into my femoral artery? Is it going to go into my leg? No, it's going to go right into the ground. If I have my leg here, where's it going to go? It's going to go into the top of my leg. I don't want that. So I'm going to drop that foot back a little bit. I'm going to bias my hips forward. That way, is as I'm holstering, if something were to get around that trigger guard and it were to fire, it's just going to go into the ground. Okay? So my firearm, all of my Glocks have this. They have what's called a striker control device on the back. It works kind of like a hammer in the sense that if the trigger is being manipulated, the base plate moves. So I can feel if there's any resistance on the trigger. So you will see me put my thumb on the back of the slide as I'm holstering, okay? If you have a hammered gun, I strongly recommend you do that because you're going to feel that if there's any pressure on the trigger, okay? If you just have another striker fired gun that does not have any of those features, you don't have to do that, but that's something that I do because of the features of my gun. But I'm going to slowly and reluctantly holster. Do you see how slowly I did that? The reason I did that as slowly as I did was because if there's any resistance, it gives me time to feel it and abandon it. If I just do this number and there's anything that got on the trigger, am I going to have any time to react to that before I end up cooking one off into the ground? No. So I'm going to come back here, nice deep breath, clear my cover garment. I'm going to look, make sure there's nothing in the holster. And then I'm going to just drop the muzzle. There's no reason for me to go to the left or right. I'm just going to drop the muzzle and slowly, safely, reluctantly holster. And then I'm good. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay.